James Comey was giving a speech or attempting to give a speech at Howard University, and there were student protesters who didn't want to have anything to do with it. In fact, they wanted to do everything to stop it. Take a look.
And I love the enthusiasm of the young folks. I just wish they would understand what a conversation is. A conversation is where you speak and I listen, and then I speak and you listen, and we go back and forth and back and forth. And at the end of a conversation, we're both slaughtered.
So he did manage to finish his speech, and keep in mind that he has been appointed by Howard University to serve as the chair in public policy for the 2017-2018 academic year. And so this raises the same question, the same issue that's been coming up quite a bit lately on college campuses, the issue of free speech. And in this case, he managed to finish his speech, but the students were being very persistent in interrupting him and trying to prevent him from doing so.
I was a little surprised at this story because I don't know which way they're going to go on Comey, because Comey's such a complicated character.
Yeah.
So yes, he might have cost the Democrats the election, as we've talked about many times, and as well as many other factors, including Hillary Clinton. But at the same time, he was pursuing Donald Trump and was fired for it. Or at least had begun to pursue Donald Trump. So I guess I was slightly surprised that they had this reaction. Although you can't beat the chant of "Get out, James Comey, you're not our homie."
You cannot. The chant. You know how I feel about chanting. That's a great chant.
Yeah,
it's a great chant.
Ben Mankiewicz, who's notoriously anti-chanting, approves of that chant.
Yeah, I might have chanted that. It's really complicated because they have a right to protest the speech, but once a guy's giving a speech, you should let him give the speech, And
yeah, I don't think that part's that complicated, actually. So yeah, I didn't know which way they were going to go on Comey politically, but once you disagree with him, which is a perfectly fair thing to do, super fair. I think that the way I think it was Notre Dame students handled Mike Pence was better, where they made it clear that they were opposed to him. And they got up, and some walked out, and I think most turned their backs on him. So that allowed him to make his speech, but made a political point. Now, right-wingers get hurt no matter what. They think that they have a right to speak and everyone must love what they say. That's just not how it works. But especially on a college campus, I think everybody should be allowed to speak. And so Pence got to finish his speech. Now, Comey did it anyway, he soldiered on, but I wouldn't have tried to, and another thing, I think they did it with Pence, I'm not positive, but the chant in the beginning, give it a couple of minutes. You make your point. You want to turn around. You want to walk out. You want to do all those things. Great.
You want to boo him afterwards, or something. But
yeah. But after the first couple of minutes and you've done a fun chant, then let the guy speak. That's my take on it.
No, I think it's the right take. I mean, it's important, and there is supposed to, and college campuses are supposed to be, the idea that there should be a free exchange of ideas is important, and at college campuses, it's not really a First Amendment issue. Nobody's getting arrested, nobody's going to prison, the government's not stopping anybody from speaking. But the free exchange of ideas, I think at college is important.
Yeah.
And the notion that there are some on the left who are opposed to that or bothers me, no question that it bothers me.
So there are those on the left and the right who are opposed to that, and there was a pretty devastating study done by the Brookings Institution in regard to free speech on college campuses and how students feel about it. And this is so discouraging because it's worse than I thought, okay? The number of students who actually don't care that much about free speech, based on the results of this study, concerns me because a college campus is supposed to be a free marketplace of ideas, and it is a slippery slope. I hate slippery slope arguments, but if you start censoring speakers or banning speakers, first of all, no political party or political group should dictate what all the students get to hear on that campus, right? So if you're a liberal student and you hate these conservative speakers, I hear you, but not everyone on campus is liberal, and conservatives, should have the right to hear from people that they're interested in hearing from as well, and vice versa, right? So let me give you the details of this survey because it's devastating. So a student group so they asked a bunch of questions. Here's one of the questions that Brookings Institution asked. A student group opposed to the speaker disrupts the speech by loudly and repeatedly shouting so that the audience cannot hear the speaker. Do you agree or disagree that the student group's actions are acceptable? Well, here is a graph showing you the number of people who agree. So 51% of these students surveyed said that they agree, okay? The majority, not small majority.
It's okay to drown them out.
It's okay to drown them out and not allow the audience to hear this person's speech or message.
That's depressingly high.
That is depressingly high. Now let's go back. Among students who identify as Democrats, the amount is 62% who think that this is okay. Among Republicans, it's 39%, independents 45%. When it comes to females, 47%. Males, surprisingly, 57%. So males are more likely than females to think that this type of behavior is acceptable. So let's go to the next question.
Okay, before we do, let's just note that, come on, Democrats, you're supposed to be better than that. So the right wing is more authoritarian, and usually authoritarian leads to shutting down opposition speech. Progressive is supposed to be more open-minded. And I get it, there's a lot of pent-up frustration about the right wing steamrolling progressives, not necessarily progressives, but certainly the Democratic Party over the last couple of decades. But this is not the right way to fight back. And look, shutting down other people's opinions is always in some way an admission of defeat. And you should never admit that. So when fundamentalists use violence to strike out against others, so let's say a fundamentalist Muslim or wants to kill someone because they've insulted his religion, that just means he doesn't think he's right and he can't debate with you, so he's resorting to violence rather than ideas. But shouting people down so they're not allowed to speak is a needless admission, like that you're almost not afraid of those ideas, but that you don't even want to allow it. It's just totally unnecessary. Just let them speak. They're deeply unpopular opinions. They're not going to get any traction, and you will easily defeat them in the battlefield of ideas. That's what progressivism is. If you like this video, you probably like independent media. The best way to support independent media, become a member of the Young Turks. TYTnetwork.com/join.